Yo, what is good, my anime people? What is good, yo? Sword Art is really out here. Sword Art is truly showing me that there's not too many animated shows doing it like it anymore, and that we've been getting pretty lackluster stuff. But other than showing me that, it's also showing me that man, Kirito is so broken, and clearly he hasn't stopped playing slash, keeping up with just doing whatever he can to stay as like raw RP, like a um, what do they call them? Just a swordsman in general, but I was gonna say virtual swordsman, but in real life he's actually really good with it too because of the incident of sword art. Um, but yeah, you can tell he still seemingly practices on the daily, so that's one thing about him that's absolutely ridiculous. And then not to mention that he's living in this world. Like, imagine the sword art incident of him learning like everything he learned and that he became the person that he is. Now imagine that happening, but like 5 times now, because his whole entire body kind of was like an empty shell almost. Like when he lost all of his functionality from the person that attacks him, that makes him pretty much have to live in this world. That was the first instance that was starting to, everything in this world was starting to kick in on him. Like everything was real in a sense. And I think that's where this show is going to truly like grasp on how powerful Kimito could truly become if he was pretty much lived and died by the sword, and from what we can see already, he is ridiculously strong. He's dodging. Kimito this week becomes fast enough to dodge light, and I'm not sure if he was already dodging light at some point in one of the series, but he's straight up dodging light. Not to mention once they explain what the light is and how they even came about figuring out how to make a sword out of light that can manipulate it, or like the reflection of light. So I'm guessing maybe if you are reflecting light, it's a little bit slower than actual just light itself shooting at you, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it shouldn't be. For anything, it should be quicker. If you shoot light and then it reflects off of something at a faster speed, if it's reflecting, kind of like full counter or something. But full counter's properties actually make the attack stronger and make it, just overall better once the full counter actually lands. So I'm not sure if the reflection is still considered full on speed, light speed feat, but this man Kimito, if he can actually dodge this many light speed attacks, and sure he does get caught by some of them. I mean, they're moving at the speed of light. Um, it's okay, because I mean, throughout the rest of the episode, he's literally reacting to them multiple upon multiple times. So I think Kimito is definitely reached a huge pinnacle in this series alone, just like this arc alone. And now I'm guessing a lot more people are going to be on Kimito's side when it comes down to death battles and stuff, because he's literally not only just reacting to it, but fighting against it as well. So this man is broken. This man is freaking broken. So I mean, I'm not surprised. Like, this is the boy. This is the GOAT. This is the Lady Slayer, okay? The Black Swordsman has returned. And he's moving at freaking light speed. The other thing that was really messed up in this week's episode, which usually happens in these types of animes where the main character kind of just isn't a fan of taking life in general, especially not the lives of kids. Um, so seeing the reaction of blonde Kimito kind of gave me all the answers I needed to know with normal Kimito in the sense of how he would be feeling, how he would want to handle things, and things like that. Like for if he was hearing it for the first time in his whole entire life, Kimito has been around for so long that even that story is not that shocking to him, just because he's heard and seen some things that might have been even worse. So that's just how that goes. Not to mention, whenever we kind of learn that Kimito is pretty much like offended by this, that he kind of knew what was going on with the girls from the jump. What the heck just happened to my trap? I think that was pretty telling of just like how far his character has come as in a whole, and I love that aspect about him. Like he's not going to stray from what he believes because he has no reason to. Why is he going to do something he doesn't want to do when he doesn't have to, including in a situation where he can go with either option and still come out with a better outcome than actually taking life. So that's just one thing that's always like grown on me with his character that I've always enjoyed, me personally anyway, is just he always sticks to his morals and stuff like that. I guess that might be a reason why people hate him as well, but I mean, can't make everybody happy. So um, with the girls pretty much giving us the story of just like why they're out and why they're doing what they were doing at the moment, Kimito was way too smart to be fooled by that, and I guess by allowing himself to get poked and quote unquote be paralyzed was an easier way than um, literally going full out and trying to murder these chicks because of, he had to get past them still somehow, so he pretty much took the easy route out and tried to scope out if they had antidote or something along those lines, and of course they did, because I think he knew they did because of the story that he heard of them stabbing each other, and how there was 30 kids and they were pretty much just test subjects for a resurrection spell. So if this resurrection spell works, all of you that just stabbed each other and killed each other, you'll be brought back to life. But if it doesn't, then oops. Like who cares if it doesn't work? We'll try to do it again with the rest of the people that did come alive, and straight up, these girls come back to life and see the people that they were working with. They straight up, their bodies exploding and other of them turning into just weird rotting flesh. And you know what they did? They're like, oh, whatever, let's continue the experiments. I can't wait to see us come back to life, pretty much. Like, that's how corrupted these like humans, quote unquote, are, when it comes down to living under the thumb of somebody who is seemingly your goddess, seemingly your pride and joy. So the weirdest thing about all of this is they didn't see anything negative with all of those kids that they were working with passing away. Not to mention them passing away, they died in horrific ways. That was even like the most disturbing things they've seen since just watching other kids stab each other, and then they still didn't care. Like their whole entire thing with whatever they had going for them is gone. Like their humanity, whatever they were built with, is seemingly just dead. And this show does not shy away from like just showing you how crazy these little girls are from that situation, getting in so close, using their childhood pretty much love and eyes, and their innocence as weapons. So they're completely gone in my opinion. But of course, Kimito, being who he is not going to actually take them out. He does cut them both with their own poison knives, because by looking at their holders, supposedly they had to get special red oak so it didn't dissolve by the poison or by the paralysis that was always been touching the holster. So Kimito being that intelligent just goes to show you how much he looks into every situation before reacting, or just acting in general, unlike his other counterpart, which kind of is just that side of him that is immature. Like, it's almost the young Kimito and the old Kimito. Like, everything he's doing, we've kind of seen Kimito do these things and get mad at these situations and, be that person that we know him to be. But at the same time, we've also seen him grow time and time again after every one of these situations that do him wrong. He learns from it instead of just continuously going down the same path. So I'm not fully sure where they're going to go with the blonde Kimito, but with how much hatred and stuff is coming from him, it seems like they're trying to do him kind of dirty and maybe turn him into something the audience didn't expect a enemy for Kimito towards the end, because maybe he finds out that he can't save Alice the way that he wants to and decides to stay with the Alice that is there, and it goes against what Kimito was trying to do all along or something. So I just have a feeling that we're learning a lot about his character through his actions compared to Kimito, who we learn more about him through his words than just what he's trying to do. And just by him trying to pull back and reel his younger self in, pretty much it feels like. It felt like he was looking at himself like, your hatred and all this is not what you brought here to fight with. You brought your love for somebody that you wanted to save. So where is that version of you? Why are you using all this other stuff that, might not even be helpful in these situations? Which Blue Rose enchanted armament, absolutely dope. But with him being weakened from the paralysis and just being able to move recently, I think that threw off a little bit of its potency. Um, but of course, when we're gonna see Kimito, the man who was taken on 5 knights and one that can control light, we get the end of the show, man. They're so good at making us wait, which is pretty cool because I think they're gonna go with the traditional dark versus light battle here, because it just seems like the smarter and easier thing to do. Not to mention, Kimito did announce that he wanted to save her, like he wanted to save everybody in this world. So it goes to show you that he's also this whole time been holding back against everybody he's gone against, bruh. So a suppressed Kimito that's not trying to kill anyone because he's trying to save them. Sure, he'll render them unable to fight, but he's not ever trying to go for a killing blow. So yeah, take that into consideration however you will. And then remember that this is a guy who was fighting against someone who could use light, who was using fire arrows, all these different types of abilities against him in seemingly a way to kill him, not to just wound him. I mean, some of them, I guess some of the knights were capable of taking him alive in the sense of that's what they were ordered to do at the lower floors, but the higher floors aren't ordered to take Kimito alive. They can take him dead or alive. So that's just how I see it now. Like, they're getting to a point where if anybody is against them, they can pretty much just kill them. Like, oh, they're going against our princess, just kill them. Oh, okay, that's all we gotta do. Awesome. But the people are down low, they're like, let's capture them alive because we were ordered to, and then maybe the princess can, do whatever she wants to them. But yeah, overall, man, this episode was so hype. Seeing Kimito get bodied up and like take a lot of damage, and then knock off the helmet of this person, find out that it's a chick. She thinks that Kimito is gonna go hold back on her because of a chick, and he gives us the classic callbacks to all the fights that he's lost to girls over the past seasons. So it's amazing to know that they're literally just continuing Kimito to be this super dope character who has experienced so much and yet will never turn against the people that matter the most to him. And there's not a lot of characters that are getting this like treatment and actually getting more seasons. So it's nice to see that a traditional character like this that's doing things like that, fighting for what he believes is right and stuff, is actually getting more seasons, getting more arcs and stuff like that. And not to mention getting strong is all hell. Like, oh my god, Kimito's a god. This man is going in with the leg that's shot to hell and with the shoulder that's blown, like got a hole blown in it. So, I mean, if you didn't believe Kimito was at Guts level of strength, then now you know. Like, he surpasses Guts, uh, not full Berserker armor already, like easily. So, we're looking at a very, very powerful character, and this is just like midway, like we're almost like barely done with this, so there's got to be someone stronger than someone that's we're witnessing right now, and not to mention the person that could create the swords that are shooting light through them. Like, okay, what I was saying with the light and the swords too as well is this sword wasn't just created by how they found out about making the light sword. It was actually created in a different way um, after they found out what it could do and how many like reflections of the sun it took to melt a boulder. They then find out that like, oh man, it takes 100 or something to melt a boulder of reflecting light. So what if we then add over 10,000? And that's how the sword was created. So it's not 100 times of the sun being reflected, it's a 10,000 times. And that's what he was taking damage by, and that's also what he was reacting to and dodging in this week's episode. So Kirito has reached new levels of god status, and I don't know how people are going to feel about hearing that, because I can already tell if there's a whole bunch of people trying to comment that hate on Kirito. They're going to be like, hey, he's not even stronger than the Pebble. And all these characters are Pebble level. Like, oh, well, yeah, you can believe that if you want. I mean, as of now, Kirito just needs a potent attack that, if he does it, it could pretty much wipe out a planet. And he would have the speed feat of light and planetary power to destroy stuff. Like, that is ridiculous. So we'll see how this all plays out. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you slap a like. I will be dropping daily content as much as I can when animes drop that I enjoy and that I can give you guys a full honest review about. So with that, I will talk to you in the next one. Alright, my anime people. Peace.